Hi, everybody, and welcome to part two of our journey to decide the best Christmas movie. So, we each picked four films for the first round, and we have two more battles to be won, which will lead us into the quarterfinals. So, our winners from round one so far are National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, Edward Scissorhands, The Santa Claus, Gremlins, Home Alone, and Deck the Halls. And the winner will be decided tonight. How are we all feeling?
Hopefully decided tonight we can get through it a little faster. Last week wasn't that bad. Just before we get into how everyone else is doing, we recorded for about an hour and 40 minutes, and I was quite happy getting it down to just over an hour.
That was a really good edit, Ryan, because that was a lot of content.
Yeah. But I'm good. I'll just jump in and say I'm good. I had a Chinese there. Connor was saying to Jones there. I had a Chinese on Saturday, and I've had a bit of a dicky stomach since.
Right, so dodgy one
on the Andrews liver salts. Yeah.
Very good. You're coming round.
If not, I'm good. I hope so. Pray for me.
I will. If you have to get up suddenly and leave, we'll know what's happened.
Yes. Just ignore it. I'll just edit myself in.
Yeah.
Joe or Connor, how are you guys?
I'm fine, yeah. Busy the past couple of days, but you're saying you just had a Chinese. I just had a Chinese there now, so hopefully no tummy bugs.
Hopefully
I'm been absolutely flat out all week. Just barely got time to eat, so just after pasta and meatballs there, but I barely time to think all week. So busy.
So first up, we have Muppets Christmas Carol versus In Bruges. And since the Muppets are my pick, Joe, do you want to introduce your film?
Sure. So I've picked In Bruges, another left field choice. Sorry about that, guys. But In Bruges is a 2008 film written by Martin McDonagh, who is actually quite a famous Irish playwright, and he's known for like really dark comedies and things like that. It follows the story of a newly minted assassin called Ray, and on one of his first assassinations, he accidentally killed both his target and a child. And this film is like him in Bruges, funny enough, dealing with this and sort of dealing with, can he forgive himself for doing such a heinous act? And I'll get into why it's a Christmas movie in a second after you introduce the very famous Muppets.
So The Muppets Christmas Carol is a 1992 film directed by Brian Henson. It follows the tale of the Charles Dickens story. And I think one of the most fun parts about these kind of franchise films where you know that it's the Muppets doing a story that we all know, but it's the part that I like is seeing which character is going to play which part in the story. The characters that we know already from the Muppets and who they're going to... I mean, the Cratchit family is kind of a bit obvious, but... and the inclusion of music as well, that seems to make it quite popular. And of course, Michael Caine as Ebenezer Scrooge is one of the best parts. So,
I was just going to jump in there because I will forget. I usually have to write stuff on my hand. I didn't know that Michael Caine's, that's not his real name. Well, it is now legally, but that's not his birth given name. Yeah. In 1954, his name was Maurice Micklewhite. And near the end of the Muppets Christmas Carol, there's a store called Micklewhite's. Which is a random trivia, but I just thought that was really
good. Of the hat to him.
Yeah.
Maurice Micklewhite doesn't really have a ring to it, does it?
No,
that's more that is more of a Dickens character. Maurice Micklewhite.
Mm-hmm.
Straight out of Dickens, isn't it?
The Dickens character.
I have to agree with Zara though. Like I really do enjoy watching the Muppets movies, especially the likes of the Muppets from Treasure Island, Muppets on Treasure Island. I can't recall. But I do always really enjoy looking at which characters play which characters in these stories. And I kind of actually wondered, do they always play the same types of characters? Can you nearly could you nearly decide or come to the conclusion before seeing the movie, Gonzo will play, or Hermit will play, or Miss Piggy will play? Do they always kind of play the same types of characters in stories, or do you think they just kind of chop and change them?
Throw a few curveballs at you, don't they?
No, I love the Muppets Christmas Carol, actually. It was one of my original picks.
It's no Scrooge, let's face it. Come on.
Did Scrooge win last week? No, I don't think.
I think it's like the ultimate version of the Charles Dickens tale. See, like whenever I was younger, the one bit that really freaked me out, it wasn't like Ghost of Christmas Future or anything. It was the Ghost of Christmas Past. The wee girl that was like the puppet, and she was like a candle, and she floated about, and she was a ghost. Like, she used to freak me out. I don't know why, but I was terrified of that wee girl.
I wonder why it was maybe more enjoyable to watch that. Sorry, Connor. That version of A Christmas Carol than Scrooge's version with Bill Murphy.
Do you think is it because it's just that that bit later and it's just more fun throughout, or
It could be, and it could be to do with your own kind of like mental, I don't know, maturity.
you've got that just relationship with the Muppets too, don't you? So like as you say, it's a franchise. So once you go into it, you kind of know, you're going to see
that's
those
true.
characters pop up. You mightn't necessarily know who they're going to be playing, but you already have that familiarity. So it's like it was like sitting down with an old friend or whatever. I was really interested. Sorry, whenever you said the director Brian Henson. So I take it that has to be the Henson lineage, like as in Jim Henson, the creator of the Muppets. It must be a son or something. Did you look into that at all? Do you know who that is?
I didn't. That's
Curious.
Oh yeah, Jim. Because Jim
That's
Henson.
one for me to Google later. Yeah, it's Jim Henson Workshop, isn't it?
Something I should have. Yeah, that is the creator, isn't it? That's something that I should have.
It must be a family affair.
I wonder if it was a son or somebody.
It must be.
I think it did end up staying within the kind of the same family, though. Did he not also?
Yeah.
Did he not did the son that worked as Yoda or something on the original Star Wars? Maybe it was the father. I don't know.
Don't know now.
A lot of assumptions going on here.
I can't remember, but I do think the son does do some of the voices that his dad did. Yeah, so. But anyway.
The gap in my research there. I'll have to.
Yeah, Zara, do your research.
Check that out.
Oh, not at all. Sorry, I didn't mean to put you on the spot. It's just I didn't realize the son was involved.
That's a really obvious. Yeah, Henson. I didn't even think of that. Jim Henson. Yeah.
So I actually haven't seen Christmas Carol, and I'd say probably since it came out. What is it? Is it like in 98 or something like that?
92.
92. Oh, it's that old.
Before I was born.
Yeah, I don't think I saw it since it came out. Yeah, so I would have been like 10. That's probably the last time I saw it. Yeah, showing me age now.
I want to hear why In Bruges is a Christmas film.
Yeah,
Joe.
Yeah, that's what we're all waiting for, I think, isn't it?
I'm fully prepared to be beaten on this one because it is up against The Muppets Christmas Carol, which I think is a real classic Christmas movie. But I'm not here to convince you to pick this. I'm just here to convince you to consider In Bruges.
Well, we'll just vote.
We're in that sales pitch right away. Like
he's prepared to
subverting.
I lost
the
Lord of the Rings last time, but it did get closer than I thought it would. So here's my argument for In Bruges. Now, In Bruges is actually set at Christmas in Bruges. In a review for the film for the it was AV Club's website, Vikra Murthy said in his review that In Bruges captures the existential weight of the Christmas season. Okay, so as I was kind of mentioning in the last episode, Christmas isn't really all that happy for a lot of people. It can be quite a sad time, can be quite a morose time, especially this year now. Maybe In Bruges might become a new classic Christmas movie if we're feeling all melancholy.
Corona is our In Bruges.
It is. Just like the coronavirus, the main character, Ray, cannot escape Bruges. So... No, I just want to sort of take you on a bit of a journey. We can have our happy-go-lucky Christmas movies, but Christmas is an appropriation of the pagan festival of lights, which in itself was used to highlight that there's always light in the darkness, and it was sort of to herald the coming of the warmer months. So in that way, Bruges is kind of in keeping with the theme, and it's finding your way back to the light whenever you've done wrong, the contemplation and dread of getting your life back on track and back on the right path. It's not, the film isn't really overly concerned with capitalism or commercializing the season. It is more concerned with exploring the morality and the consequences of the uncaring actions of the main characters. Now, can we find forgiveness in ourselves and in those around us? This is the question the movie does pose.
Not when you shoot a child in the skull.
Well, exactly. I mean,
in church, no less.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I like there is a kind of a lot of references, obviously, like to the Catholicism throughout in Bruges, through the architecture.
I was going to say,
and even like in the likes of the paintings and such. And I think I heard one person refer to in Bruges as purgatory. Yeah. Because you've got your guy Ralph Fiennes playing the character Harry, who's the boss, and he essentially sends Brendan Gleeson and Colin Farrell to in Bruges to wait basically his kind of judgment for the action of killing a child.
Brendan Gleeson's almost like the sort of the judger as such, and he kind of decides to forgive Ray. And you were kind of hitting on there the architecture and the paintings and everything. Yeah, Bruges is one of the best preserved medieval European cities, and so it is filled with like Catholicism and religious imagery like everywhere. So it is kind of steeped in the holiday as such. Yeah, it doesn't really go with the hookiness of the Christmas movies that they tend to peddle. It is more of like a dark comedy, but it does present itself as quite in an authentic sense. It does explore the characters' dilemmas or whatever. So I don't know if you want to like have a discussion as to why Bruges is like a good Christmas movie, and maybe it's more in fitting with the holiday than you might have thought before.
I take all your points.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say I take all your points, and they're well made, but I don't know. It's still, I would still like think that like some of the alternative movies we talked about, like so Edward Scissorhands, or even the action flicks, Long Kiss Goodnight, Die Hard. I would kind of, I don't know, they feel more Christmassy to me in a way than Christmas does. But maybe that's because I don't really get the existential dread of Christmas. It's not something I relate to.
It was like Joe's argument with Lord of the Rings, where he was saying obviously about it's steeped in all these themes of Christmas to him, and yes, there's themes of like religion and family and redemption, and there is obviously Christmas that's centered around Christmas. But like I'd argued for Lord of the Rings, I feel like you could find those exact same themes in nearly any other movie. So I get why you would find it a Christmas movie for you personally. I wouldn't watch it on Christmas, but I did rewatch it and I did thoroughly enjoy watching it again, because I do love that style of the dialogue is almost theatrical in how they speak, because there's the repetition of words. They keep repeating things they say. And I love that in Guy Ritchie's like Snatch and Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels. I love that kind of theatrical theme. So it's a good movie. I just don't think it's a Christmas movie.
Well, I disagree. But
I was just going to say, in the film itself, they don't really lean into the fact it's a Christmas movie either. Like Christmas is fairly subtle. It's kind of background in it, isn't it?
Oh yeah, I mean, you could say that about Die Hard and stuff as well.
True.
I mean, it's about as Christmassy as in Bruges.
Okay, so guys, we're going to vote on Muppets or In Bruges. So 1 finger for Muppets and 2 for In Bruges. So 3, 2, 1.
I don't think Joe would actually.
No, I do agree. Muppets is more of a Christmas movie than In Bruges. I just wanted to make you think.
You did.
Wasting people's time.
Mission accomplished.
Time waster.
Idea of an alternative.
Good.
Christmas. Okay, so for the next one, we have Elf versus The Grinch.
I knew this would be a really tough one.
The Grinch is yours, Ryan?
The Grinch is mine, yes. Well, who chose the Elf just first of all, just so I can see?
Oh, me.
Oh, was it you? Oh, okay.
This is a clash of the titans right here, isn't it?
It really is. So basically, plot of The Grinch. So is after discovering that he isn't human, but he's been raised by humans. It's obviously a Dr. Seuss classic story. So we've got The Grinch. He's living on top of a snowy mountain, and he decides, do you know what? I'm actually looking at the wrong thing there. I threw myself off with my own notes. So yes, The Grinch, he's living up in the mountains, just outside of Whoville. And this is kind of like little town, little village, kind of lives on a snowflake. So, and then we've got this revenge-seeking Grinch who plans to ruin Christmas for everybody because he's been excluded from that and he's been kind of outcast because he's so different. So it's a very kind of basic story of being different and trying to find that acceptance. I love the playfulness of it. I love the songs. I love the way they speak. I love the kind of the style, the same way that we would argue with the likes of the Santa Claus or even like Tim Burton, like anything that's very kind of thematic and stylish. I love that. And The Grinch stands out for me. And I just like that it's one of Jim Carrey's best performances, just because he's a comedian and I find The Grinch very, very comical. So it's very tough for me to argue The Grinch versus the Elf, because I also love the Elf. But before we get into the nitty gritty of that, I suppose, Sarah, you can take a run at the Elf.
And I also love The Grinch, so it's tough all around. Well, your character was raised by humans, but my character, so it's he was raised by elves. It's a 2003 film directed by Jon Favreau, which I actually didn't know until I was researching. For me, it has everything that a Christmas movie needs. So we've got humans dressed as elves. We've got real elves. We've got cartoon narwhals. I mean, what's not to love? Will Ferrell as well. Yes. So,
well, we also have, I suppose, on the other side of the coin, like if you look at Whoville on The Grinch, like all the characters are, I wouldn't say elfish, but they have their own kind of quirky looks about them that people do love seeing in Christmas characters and Christmas critters. So like there is a real magical quality to it. Like I absolutely love it. Just a bit of trivia, which I find really interesting. Jim Carrey actually had to get CIA torture endurance training to wear the suit.
Like his contact lenses and stuff as well, wasn't it? Because it was so irritating to him, yeah.
Because it took him 8.5 hours every day to put on that suit, and it was apparently absolute torture. So he had to kind of be prepared by that and go through like training,
psychological training.
Yeah, because he was getting very pissy. There's stories of him kicking holes in walls, and
he's quite method as well.
Makeup artist, the makeup artist ended up going to therapy once they had wrapped on The Grinch, and he still says to this day that was the one film that he had really kind of just struggled to.
Well, Jim Carrey's apparently
that being said, that's not selling. I would imagine he probably is, especially more these days. But I guess that's not really kind of selling Christmas. I suppose if you'd ask kids today, have you seen The Grinch? As I said, I think last week, like I kind of feel like they would nearly think Ed Helms and the kind of animated version that came out a couple of years ago, which I still haven't seen. And as I said before, I'm getting a little bit sick of all these kind of remakes. But what's not to love about The Grinch? Again, there's those kind of family themes of togetherness, and he loses his family, he gets his family back. He's trying to find his place in this world and find acceptance, and he finds love and friendship and kinship in, be it the little girl Cindy Lou Who or even in his dog Max. And I do love the way that it pokes fun at itself. Like one of my favorite scenes is when he's come down into Whoville and he's just wreaking havoc on everybody, and he asks for a cab to go back home. He doesn't get one, so then there's a little toy car that comes and stops, and he stops at his foot and he gets in, and it's like a little kind of RC race car, and he drives it around and crashes it, and it's like one of those action sequences where he's running away in slow motion and the explosion behind him is just huge. Absolutely. I just find those kind of moments hilarious. I think Jim Carrey makes it. I really enjoyed like the scene, if you can remember, where Jim Carrey, the Grinch, he's sitting in a director's chair and he's telling Max, how to perform or how to act, and he knocks off his own nose, his little red nose on his face, and Jim Carrey takes that as his defiance of Christmas simply by knocking off the red nose. And apparently that was actually something Jim Carrey was doing behind the scenes for fun, to make fun of the director, Ron Howard. And he found that hilarious. So he allowed that kind of scene to be in. So there's a lot of kind of self-referentials to the film industry and directors and action movies and whatnot. So I kind of love that the film can poke a little bit of fun at itself.
Yeah. I agree with everything you said earlier on, just about the whole aesthetic of the film. It is very North Pole like, and like the costumes are great, all the colors are great, characters are great. Jim Carrey's brilliant in everything, especially around that period, like sort of late 90s, early 2000s. Like he sort of couldn't put a foot wrong. Brilliant in everything he does.
I think actually Jim Carrey was also initially cast to play Buddy the Elf in The Elf.
Was he?
Mm-hmm.
Yet more crossover between our choices.
Yeah. Well, that crossover I had forgot with In Bruges is the wee boy that gets shot in the head at the start is actually, he plays Saint Nick in Fred Claus, the wee boy, in the opening scenes.
Cool. Mm-hmm. There's so much crossover.
More crossovers. There is, yes.
Elf is a great, fantastic show too. Will Ferrell, brilliant in it. James Caan, this might be controversial, but I don't think James Caan can do comedy. I think like, he's the weak link of the film.
I don't know. I mean, he is supposed to be like the straight man in the film, like, isn't he?
Mm-hmm. I know, but I don't know. Even doing straight man, I just when I watch it, I think he's the weak link in it. Although I think he's a brilliant actor. I love him in other things, but it's a minor point. It's nitpicking really. It is brilliant. It's a brilliant Christmas movie, and it has all the themes that you would want in a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I think it's just we can pick these movies apart to death now because of it being in the industry or being over analytical or because of our kind of older years of cynicism. We could say that's unlikely or that wouldn't happen. This was just finding joy in the small things as well. But yeah, the Elf, I mean, who doesn't like the Elf? I haven't come across a single person that could say they don't like the Elf.
Dude, I don't know. I mean, like they're pretty equal for me. I think at the minute I'm leaning more towards Elf because, that's whenever Will Ferrell, was in his heyday, I suppose. I just think it's so stupid, like in the best possible way. The giant burp he does at the dinner table, the splits that he does going up the escalator. just how like stupidly childlike he is. Like I have my own problems with Will Ferrell. I don't really like his comedy a lot of the time, especially that improv stuff in the
Very
movies.
same.
But it works for this one. And of course you've got Manic Pixie Dream Girl Zoe Deschanel in the film as well, and I generally like her.
But why is it we could watch films like The Elf or The Grinch today and still think, like it's very animated, it's very funny, it's very childlike, it's very immature in a lot of ways, and yet we could still in our 20s or 30s or 40s or whatever, we could still sit and watch that and just...
Part of it, Ferrell does it so convincingly. That childhood innocence. He plays it. He's really believable in the role. And I think that's a big part of selling it.
He does commit, like.
Yeah, and then
he does.
So does Carrie. Yeah, he really. They both are kind of those.
Yeah.
I think it's that nostalgia as well. If those films are made, like what was Grinch? What year?
2000.
Grinch was 2000. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So very close to each other.
And then Elf was 2003. So I think there's something about the time they were made.
Maybe we're just kind of at that age now. We're all being very nostalgic. Whereas kids in 10, 20 years will be nostalgic for the remake of The Grinch or the remake of The Elf if they bloody do one, which I'm very glad that they didn't do a second Grinch because that was on the table. And I'm very glad that Will Ferrell turned down the option to do a second Elf because that was also on the table.
Yeah.
And I think if everybody else did it, but Will Ferrell, I wouldn't be interested in the slightest.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of like
Ferrell,
I started calling him Will Ferrell. I have no idea. Will Ferrell.
Will Ferrell Williams.
I started that last night. Ferrell, yes. Colin Farrell. I don't know why I've been doing that. Thanks for correcting me.
I think that Elf actually may not have caught on. Like, let's bring some socio-political themes into this as well, shall we? I don't think Elf would have caught on had it been made.
Okay, bye everybody.
before, like say The Grinch. The Grinch kind of worked because it was kind of quirky and it was kind of dark. Elf was like this real breath of just mystical stupidity and funness. You have to consider that The Grinch was made before 9/11. That Elf was made after 9/11, and I think that people were ready for a little bit more escapism with Elf, things like that. So I actually wouldn't think it would be such a classic Christmas movie had it not been made in the political climate of the time. Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. I'm not even going to comment on this.
I mean, if you watch Lindsay Ellis, she talks about, things made pre and post 9/11. It's very, very interesting how media actually kind of evolved around that. But it was, Elf is just like pure fun escapism. And I think that that's like the main draw of that film. It's just...
I think in many ways, that's where movies are going today. Like even Marvel. I love the Marvel franchise and I love all their 20 movies that led up to this kind of big crescendo finale with Endgame. But it is essentially just leave your brain at the door, big explosions and special effects. So there's... that's why I love going to the cinema. I don't care about the movie necessarily. I just love going for the escapism, sitting in a dark room, surround sound, popcorn on a big screen.
Let's do it.
So, shall we vote?
I haven't even thought about voting. Jesus.
Too busy talking about 9/11. Jeez.
Oh, no.
I was really brought back into that world of The Grinch, and now I'm just kind of like...
Okay.
So, guys, if we vote, it's 1 finger for Elf and 2 for The Grinch. So, 3, 2, 1.
Oh, I knew I was going to lose. Do you know what? I was totally torn. So
I wasn't sure how it was going to go.
As my fingers went up, I think I put up 1 and changed it to 2 at the last second.
This is it. You can't really go wrong.
I'm happy with either of them. They're both fun.
Okay, so that's our round 1 done, and our winners are National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, Edward Scissorhands, The Santa Claus, Gremlins, Home Alone, Deck the Halls, Muppets Christmas Carol, and Elf. Okay, so guys, we're gonna head into our final 8, our quarterfinals. And first up, we have National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation versus Edward Scissorhands.
That's a tough one. I know what I'm going to vote for, but I think I know how everybody else is going to vote.
I actually, inspired by our conversation last time.
If I have to dig the quote out, I will dig the quote out again.
I actually went and I watched, first of all, the new Vacation movie, so the remake, or not the remake, it's a sequel, I suppose, isn't it?
With Ed Helms in it again.
Ed Helms version,
yes,
yeah.
yes. I
So
didn't
watched
actually
it
watch
and-
it. I thought it was
I watched
blasphemy.
it. The reviews weren't good, but I watched it, and actually, I have to say, I enjoyed it.
You know,
not
just
as good
because
as
a
the first one,
review,
obviously.
just because a review on a Christmas movie is bad doesn't necessarily mean it's not a good Christmas movie. You know, because
Yeah, well,
Christmas
this
is all
isn't
about
a
cheese.
Christmas movie, of course. This is a cross country. It's basically the original National Lampoon's Vacation. So it's basically, although it's not a remake, it's a sequel, but it's basically
You know,
the same story.
I never actually
again.
bothered watching the other ones. I just
Well,
Christmas
that's what I
Vacation.
finished that one, enjoyed it so much, and went back and watched the original Vacation and European Vacation. So it really put me in the mood last week. And
I love the
brilliant.
humor. I love the humor.
Yeah.
I love Chevy Chase. I think he's just a genius in humor.
He's great.
You know, since we're talking about we're talking about like National Lampoon, I'm going to have to represent Edward Scissorhands here a little bit. Let's
Someone has to, I suppose.
okay, you know.
Bring us back to base.
We'll bring us back to base. So just think of the snow, think of the music, think of how prettily it's shot, and all the themes of
has
acceptance.
That too, and all the themes of acceptance. And
No. you've had your like a minute
moment.
or two to spend. So yeah, just think. Don't think of Johnny Depp's recent scandals. Think of the '90s when things were nice.
Wife beater.
Or
Why
the
would you vote
Clinton
for a
era.
wife beater? Who wants that?
Will Chevy Chase have any allegations against him?
Whenever we
I don't
weren't
think
in
so.
late-stage
Never,
capitalism.
not him. I think he has though, hasn't he? He probably has.
Chevy?
Chevy
Yeah,
Chase
I
is
think-
like a proper racist, is he
He's
not?
from the
You know?
70s.
Jesus.
I don't think we should
but
vote for
Chevy
National
Chase
Lampoon's
of the
Christmas anymore.
1980s was not a racist.
He ruined
I
Community.
have that on
for a
good
while.
authority. Yeah, I loved him in Community.
Yeah,
Yeah,
apart
yes,
from nightmare to work with
it's-
again.
Yeah, so we're just gonna try and barrel through all these as fast as we can. So, does anybody really need reminding on Christmas Vacation, National Lampoon?
I don't think so. Yeah, I think
All the Christmas music, Christmas lights, the Griswold house, lovely snow. It's about family and togetherness and
Christmas
rekindling
music.
that. Yes,
So
yes. Thank you, Joe.
1950s
That's right. Yes.
stuff. Danny
Overselling
Elfman's
it.
score. Ooh, Edward Scissorhands. You know.
Oh, this is a great fight, guys. Okay, so we're going to vote. We've got 1 finger for National Lampoon and 2 for Edward Scissorhands. 3, 2, 1.
Show me those scissors.
Of course, obviously.
What do we
Split
do
down
for
the
a
middle.
tie?
It was a coin flip, wasn't
We
it?
flipped the coin
Wait,
last time.
was it a
didn't we?
tie? Who put up
It was
one?
a tie.
Yeah, it was me
I
and
did.
Zora.
Oh, you put up one.
I
Oh,
said
okay.
it to you,
I
yeah.
saw it. Oh, thank you very much.
I went
Right,
Lampoons.
we'll leave it up to fate then.
Right.
Does
Okay.
anybody have a coin this time?
I got.
We would definitely have to come up on our system if we're going to do one of these
Yeah.
again.
Yes.
I got screwed. Long kiss
It-
goodnight got screwed.
okay,
with
well, I'll
coin
probably
flip,
get
and
screwed
I'm
now.
still not happy about that.
Right. Well, lampoons can have heads. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much.
And Edwards shall be tails. Dun, 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 dun. Oh shit! It's tails. Girl.
Oh, of course.
Double-sided
There's
coin.
hands for the win.
It was more than likely to land it on tails anyway.
Yeah. Don't be
Statistically
selfish.
Never
speaking.
fails.
No.
Okay, so next we have the Santa Claus versus Gremlins.
The Santa Claus was mine again. Yeah. And I kind
These
of feel like
choices
this
are
time,
getting
I kind of
increasingly
feel like,
tougher choices here.
yeah, I kind of feel like Zara will vote for the Santa Claus this time, though. Won't you?
Really? What's telling you that, Ryan? Where?
Because it's Tim Allen, the king of Christmas. We've been through this with Christmas of the Cranks, which everybody loved. The North Pole. The
Can I just say,
Gremlins don't go to the North Pole.
Can I just say, I think all of my picks got into the next round.
Yeah, you
think
picked
all
like
of-
a real classic. Yeah.
All 4 of my, I mean, they're great
Yeah.
films. But anyway, yeah, I just wanted to brag. That's
Yeah, so you, okay.
Just gonna drop that in there. Boom.
Well, where's everybody else?
I'm
leaning,
fighting
I
for my
suppose?
one that got through, Edward.
This one, Gremlins is going to be hard to top for me on this one, I have to say. Yeah.
I mean, that's not an easy one for me because, as I say, like I got that excited. I mean, I loved the music, and I know that's not what's Christmassy about it, but it's just stuck in my head for days. And I had to send this to Zara the credits and the music. And I was like, oh, guess what I'm watching? That was one of the biggest takeaways for me. You know, I think this podcast, that should be the theme tune of this podcast, should be the Gremlins theme tune. But it is playful. It's so playful. Again, it's a bit like the Muppets Christmas Carol, where I just love these kind of little fantastical, weird, tangible puppets and critters. Which
Kind
makes
of
it really-
created a whole new world, didn't it? Really, like, created like new species of animal, like, and a whole world is growing up around it. Or it's like Santa Claus, although there's some original ideas in it, it's still revisiting a lot of old territory. Where Gremlins, I don't think there's been anything like Gremlins before.
There's been so many copycats of Gremlins. and
Yeah,
stuff
a lot of
like that,
copycats, but it was such an original idea.
I could have argued the same for Grinch, but I lost anyway.
Well, The Grinch is a classic tale. It's not really Jim Carrey's thing, is it?
Well, that's true. That's true.
Well, what do you think?
Are we ready
Straight
to
to the
vote?
vote.
Just
No
going
messing.
with the gut feeling.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so we've got 1 finger for Santa Claus and 2 for Gremlins. So 3, 2, 1.
Oh, I knew that. Of course,
Ah.
Santa Claus loses. I'm so
That was one where
sad.
I did not know how I was going to vote until like my fingers came up.
Zara has single-handedly ruined my Christmas.
I love it.
Corona hasn't made this a shit year. Gremlins has
Zara-
now made this a shit year.
Zara continuing her perfect streak.
God, I know. No,
Mhm.
you know what, guys? We've got Muppets v Elf coming up, so either way, I'm gonna have to lose one. But next up, we have Home Alone versus Deck the Halls.
Oh, well,
I think that's an easy one.
This is an easy
isn't
one.
it? Really,
Pretty
pretty
simple.
much, yeah.
Kevin McAllister. Everyone knows the music.
Do we need to discuss this
I
any
don't
further?
think we
Further?
do.
I don't think we do.
Just think of those opening credits of Home Alone and boom,
Ah,
there you go.
that's it. Job done.
Okay, guys, let's vote. So
Do we even need to vote for
1
this?
finger for Home Alone and 2 for Deck the Halls. 3, 2, 1.
Look at Mr.
No, I'm
Controversial.
only joking. Of course, I knew it wasn't going to matter anyway. Home Alone
It's just the
deserved
Who's
to
Your
win.
Daddy theme, isn't it, Ryan? It's your fave.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
it, eh? Can't get enough of
Loved
it.
it. Absolutely loved it.
Timeless, as good today as it was then.
Absolutely. What? Home Alone or?
No, the Who's Your Daddy scene.
Yes, absolutely.
That's aged well. It's aged
Yeah.
well.
Timeless.
That'd just be really ironic one day
So last
if
up
that
we've
happens to you.
got-
I would like to
Actually,
think you would
happened
know. I would like to
It
think you would
happened,
know.
it happened to a friend of mine.
Oh God!
I'm not telling the story. No, let's just move on.
You ever have
For
one of those
another day,
moments
Connor.
where you do what you do. You're in the car, you drive, and you think, "Where's a nice ass?" And you turn right.
That's
it's a man. You're like, "Shit."
That's precisely what happened. Driving down the road with a friend in the car, and he goes, "Jesus, look at the ass and that," and it was his sister.
Some guy. Oh Jesus!
No.
Oh God!
Haunting.
Oh,
haunting.
wow.
Well, there's an argument to be said that he's probably not that familiar with his sister's ass.
True.
I suppose that is a good thing. Yeah, that's a silver lining.
But
Mhm.
now he is.
Every cloud.
Yes.
No.
That thought has crossed his mind. Now, I mean, never uncrossed his
There's no
mind.
getting rid of that. It happened.
That stank don't wash off.
Oh wow! And on that note, on to our last versus, which is Muppets Christmas Carol versus Elf.
Oh,
Ooh,
it's
It's
tough.
tough.
Are they both yours, Zara?
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
/ Joe's, but he didn't pick them. He went with the wild cards.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. They actually picked both these as well. Yeah. So
Mhm.
It's tough. I don't know. What do you say about these two films? But vastly different, but very
I feel like I've
synonymous with.
seen the Elf more.
I definitely
Year on
have,
year,
yeah.
every Christmas, you watch the Elf without, it just it goes without saying the Elf is on. When our decorations go up, the Elf is on. Muppets Christmas Carol, I try to watch that every year. I have a list of DVDs and a list of movies I like to watch every year, but I don't always get through them all. And the Muppets is probably one of the ones that falls into that pile of, maybe next year.
No, I
It's
can't
kinda like
agree there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like what you said last week, but we've seen so many different versions of it, and like every year there's a new version of it to watch, So
You're just
maybe
being
you're going to
soy.
take that in.
Soy boy.
Sorry?
Soy boy.
Soy boy.
Getting Scrooged.
I'm still hurting. But yeah, I think that's probably part of it, because there is so many versions, and there is always a new one, and you're inclined to maybe check that out, and it falls to the wayside. Whereas Elf is one that you will kind of go to your way to watch, or you'll make a point to watch every Christmas.
What's more fun to watch? Well, I suppose if it's more fun, you end up watching it more anyway. But I wondered, was one more fun than the other? You just watch
nice
movie
to have
one
a
because of
sing-along.
tradition.
Nice to have a sing along with the Muppets, but at the end of the day, like, is there anything better than an Elf snowball fight?
I think Elf is just easier to watch. Like, I mean, Muppets. I'm not saying it's a complicated movie, but I'm saying it's quite an involved movie. It's quite an involved storyline. It's got loads of songs and stuff like that. Whereas for me, Elf is just like so much easier to watch. It is like a popcorn movie, and for me, that's kind of easier at Christmas. And I just have memories of watching it with my sister, me and her quoting it constantly. So I think I know what way I'm going to vote, but I do love them both.
Yeah, I agree. I think Elf's definitely more quotable. I think the Muppets is slightly more childish, I suppose, if you're kind of in that, if you're having a nostalgic day or you're, but I
If
think
you're just
Elf is more,
generally
as you say,
childish.
it's more watchable.
Yeah. Well, they did say
So
that.
shall we vote?
Okay, well, I was just going to say actually that the Elf came out in, do you say 2003?
2003, yeah.
And its box office was $221 million worldwide, which is really big for that time.
Pretty
And
impressive,
I'm
Especially
not sure
just a
exactly.
Christmas movie. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
We've got 84% on Rotten Tomatoes. I feel like for Rotten Tomatoes, that's quite high.
It's pretty good.
That is. What did The Grinch get, I wonder, on Rotten Tomatoes?
Ooh.
I don't know. I don't think it got 84%. It probably didn't get as high as that, but I would think that people probably, I don't know. Doesn't matter.
So yeah, 1 finger for Muppets and 2 for Elf. 3, 2, 1.
Unanimous.
Yeah.
Unanimous again.
Of course, the Elf was going to win, obviously.
Has to be.
See, we're getting through these so much faster. We should have just rushed through the first initial 16.
That's it.
Yeah.
I'm giving you no reasons to vote for anything. Just vote for my movie.
Because
your
I
heart.
said so. Yes.
I don't want to bring socio-political things into this.
So do keep bringing that in. Yeah, I'm sure somebody's interested.
Oof.
9/11, let's bring it back.
Bring 9/11 back for Christmas 2020.
Oh, God.
Laden, white beard.
Cancel before we start. So what was next then? Oh,
That's us, isn't it? That's a
oh wow, that was quick.
semi-final stage.
Semi-finals. Oh my goodness. So
So
we've
what do we have
got
next?
Edward Scissorhands versus Gremlins, and then we've got Home Alone versus Elf.
I feel like the second
That's
group
quite-
is going to be
quite,
tougher
like,
to argue.
Two
I'm happy
gothic,
with those four.
two
I'm
gothic
very
movies.
happy with those four. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Kinda
true. Two Gothics against
Kind
two
of two
classics.
dark gothics against two sort of upbeat,
At this
lighthearted.
point, I nearly feel like Zara's just going to win, and she's going to be gloating and
Yeah.
I don't know.
a
see the
spring in
one
her
that's gonna
step.
win.
And
Home Alone's going to be hard to beat.
Edward Scissorhands? What are you
does
talking
anybody
about?
have actually any like expectations between these four movies? Does anybody have any expectations what they
As
think
to what's
will
going to win?
Yeah,
Home Alone.
let's take bets. Put your money on the
I
table.
don't want to take the
Home
bet
Alone.
because
We don't want to try and I sway it either way.
Don't know. I think it's between Elf and Gremlins. I'm not sure.
So Elf and Gremlins. Yeah, I think for me, between the two of them, it would come down to just originality, and Gremlins would come out on top.
Yeah, well, you've got Edward Scissorhands and Gremlins in the first round, I suppose. So
Do you
who's
want
Oh,
original?
yes, sorry, yeah.
he's got scissors for hands. What? I mean, what?
you can have little gremlin babies
That's
running
so
around.
metal.
Everybody could have a Mogwai or a gremlin. There's only one Edward Scissorhands.
Yeah, that's original.
That is
That's
original.
true.
Mm-hmm.
You want a haircut from a guy with scissors for hands?
I'll take a
How
haircut from
Christmas is
anybody.
that?
I'll take a haircut from anybody at this stage of the game. Lockdown number 2. Even my beard's like, Jesus, it's like keeps rapidly expanding day by day.
I don't know.
That's
Like,
neither here nor there.
I don't really think I'd be leaning towards Edward Scissorhands.
No, I think, and for Christmas movie, it's definitely much more of a Christmas movie with the Gremlins, isn't it?
I mean, I'm glad we did this because there's certainly movies I will now take into consideration, for Christmas where I can now think to myself, I have to watch Edward Scissorhands again. I have to watch, the Gremlins, or even actually In Bruges was a real nice.
Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings, obviously Lord of the Rings will fit in the trilogy and the sequel trilogy as well when I get a chance. But yeah, so regardless, it was really nice doing this just because it's nice to kind of add movies to the repertoire.
You haven't seen Long Kiss Goodnight, actually, and you haven't referenced it.
haven't.
So
I was
you
really
gotta
bad at-
add that to the watch list.
I should have watched probably In Bruges. I watched it today. I should have watched it last night, but I actually ended up watching The Holiday, with Jude Law and Cameron
Jack Black.
Diaz. It's such a good, just feel good movie. Like it's So good. Such a good movie. I absolutely love it. I don't know why. I remember going to the cinema to see it years ago, and I just seen it on Netflix, and I thought, I'm going to sit and watch this again and be a real cheesy sod. It's just brilliant. I love it. And I usually hate all that kind of mushy, those kind of movies. They
It
don't
is
really
good, yeah. It's good
bode
for
well with me.
remember seeing it
Yeah.
just when it came out and having
Good
revisited
strong
it since,
cast.
so-
Yeah,
definitely. Mm-hmm.
very funny.
Something
Very
different for
sweet.
Jack Black too, isn't it?
It really is actually very I really enjoyed watching him in those types of roles, like just to be something different, than his kind of usual stereotypical character that he would play in movies. But it was I like seeing those kind of roles.
I love School of
Did
Rock.
Did we have any rom-coms in any of our picks? I don't think so.
Not really, not a true
No.
rom-com.
Love
Anyway.
actually came up in like the early stages.
That's right. I was
Yeah.
really glad we had to drop one because it didn't. It was kind of a spontaneous choice, and although I like it, after reconsidering it, wouldn't have been in my top 5. So I was glad I didn't have to kind of champion it.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been in my top 5 either. Like,
Yeah,
it's got one good scene.
I think it's got
Emma
7
Thompson
good scenes.
crying.
If it comes on, it's very hard not to watch. I find it's very watchable just because of this segmented nature of it. I find it very easy to watch.
It's almost like an anthology movie.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
What do you think?
Right, are we going to go straight to vote?
I think so. I am so happy that we're actually getting this. I thought this would take us forever.
Yeah.
Gremlins.
Like Zara, you should just host from now on because this is things getting done.
It's not to do with me, definitely not. So yeah, if we go, so 1 finger for Edward Scissorhands and 2 for Gremlins. I have a feeling how this is going to go. 3, 2, 1.
You said 2 for Gremlins. You did. Okay. Oh, sorry, Joe. Gremlins.
Joe's hanging on.
Cut down
like
at my
your
prime
spirit,
like scissors. Cut me down. The irony.
So we're on to our last Home Alone versus Elf.
Interesting. I don't know. I genuinely don't know. And do you know what? We've got plenty of time to discuss it.
Yay.
Easy decision for me. Like, both good movies, but come on, Home Alone. Greatest performance ever by a child actor, maybe. Agree,
Greatest
disagree?
performance ever.
By a child actor.
Logan? You mean the
movie Logan?
Hugh Jackman?
Yeah, like that
Well,
child
it's good,
actor.
but I don't think.
She's brilliant.
That's very specific.
She's good, but I think
That's very specific.
Stranger Things.
I think
Yes,
Macaulay Culkin hits all the beats. Well, movie performance, more so talking about, but no, I just think he hits all the beats you want a child actor till hit.
Yeah.
He's pretty flawless throughout. Like, I think.
Yeah. I
And
can't.
don't forget he basically carries the entire movie.
He
all
does.
these
That's
are
true.
Yeah.
Do you know actually
he carries the movie?
I read, was it yesterday, the day before? Actually, this was an interesting thing I came across. Monday passed there, so 2 days ago from when this was being recorded. Today's the 18th, so it was the 16th of November. It was the 30th anniversary of Home Alone.
Really?
Yeah, and they're remaking it. The fucking bastards.
This year?
No.
It was due to come out this year.
They are
I did whenever I was
remaking
doing my research, I saw that. I meant to bring that up last week.
I mean, I can't necessarily say it's going to be a remake and all. It's kind of in every kind of fast. It's not a hard remake. I think it's just kind of borrowing from the themes of Home Alone, of being home, Christmas time, separated from the family, burglars coming into the home. I don't think it's just going to be a hard remake. Regardless, I've seen Home Alone 3, didn't bother with 4, and I didn't like it. Do you know? So it's that thing where kids, I feel, are going to miss out on classic movies. I mean, if Home Alone is such the classic tale that they feel it needs to be retold, I'd rather they just re-released it in cinemas. Simple. Why do they have to try and remake everything? Because I'm not going to go see it. I wouldn't take. If I had kids, I wouldn't take them to go see it. I'd rather sit them down and say, "Here, watch this movie."
Watch the
which
real
I
Home
fully
Alone.
intend to do with my kids. I'd sit and say, "Watch the old Star Wars movies. Watch the old Rocky movies, not the Creed shit. Watch the classic movies like The Grinch, not the new version." Although we could watch that too, I suppose. But
yeah, I mean, I do take your point, like about Macaulay Culkin carrying that movie. I mean, they did try Home Alone without Macaulay, and it was a shit.
It does, like 90% of the movie, it is just him, and he's got a lot to do. And for a child actor, not only it's very hard not to dislike child actors, what I mean, but to be flawless throughout the movie, and to like them in every scene, it's very unusual. And that's only one aspect of it. Like the villains, like Daniel Stern and Joe Pesci.
Oh,
just,
they're phenomenal.
You never get tired of the wet
you'll
bandits.
never replace them.
His
never
scream when the tarantula's on him is just classic.
So good.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think that, like, is that if you were to ask a kid of 10, 15 years ago, they may decide that Home Alone 3 is their favorite. Or 4, or this new like remake. They may think that that's a better version. So is us being older or nostalgic or stupid children of today.
Yeah.
They have the clue. Let's just leave it at that.
Stupid children liking the sequel trilogy. What are you doing,
assholes? Oh, this is lovely. What about the elf? We haven't actually spoken about the elf, I suppose.
I don't know. I feel like I'm slowly losing the grip. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Home Alone is so. I like them both. This is the thing. I think a lot of the rounds have been very dual. Like we've liked both films, or else they've been sort of nostalgic for us. So it's really tough. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, guys, just think of that burping scene and like how long it lasts. And
did you hear that?
Did you hear that? Oh man, so good. And then when he's like making that, what does he have for breakfast?
It's like spaghetti and all sorts of chocolate and syrup and everything. I love the actor. What do you call the black actor? He's like the manager in the store.
Oh God,
pissing him off.
He's so funny.
Yeah, it is
like
he's like, Santa, I know him.
Got it. I mean, that's cool.
I honestly don't know. I just don't know. I don't know what I want to win.
I think Home Alone's a better story. Just so a lot more of the classic Christmas themes. All actors and characters are brilliant in it. The booby traps,
I would nearly want to leave this up to fate simply because, well, I'd be happy either way, but I can't decide personally. So maybe I should just flip a coin for my decision.
Maybe, yeah.
I think I'll just do that.
That's the cards we had.
Yeah. That is true. That is very true. Well, shall we just vote and see where we land?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
So I've completely lost. Oh yeah, so one finger for Home Alone, 2 for Elf.
Okay.
3, 2, 1.
Wait, I haven't voted yet. Just wait.
It's going to be decisive. Make it good.
It is.
It's a tie.
Yeah.
Wow. I don't know.
I'm surprised.
I kind of just let my fingers do the talking. I had no clue what I was voting for, really. Okay.
Oh.
Coin
again.
Do you know what? Like I said, I'm happy for either one to win.
Me too.
Okay. So what was heads?
We've got to go heads Home Alone this time.
It's been
tails twice. Law of averages.
Law of averages, yes.
Or else it's a rigged coin.
That's your human brain making faulty equivalences. All right. So heads Home Alone, tails Elf. Oh, that was a shitty flip. There we go. Oh, it's tails. So
Elf
that's
won.
Elf.
I'm calling fix. Fix is in.
This coin seems fixed, but look, it's tails and heads. Is this?
It's because you flipped with a 2 pence coin.
Connor's gone. He's just like,
I know.
I'm done.
He's just noped out of here.
Wow.
So what is it between? It's between Elf and Gremlins then?
Yeah.
Elf and Gremlins.
What a
For our
final.
best Christmas film.
Yeah.
I mean, I know what I think I know already what I would vote for because I know what I would rather watch. I don't know if that's true.
I'm so torn.
That is tough. This is tough.
But regardless of which movie wins, collectively, all 4 of us are all winners. Yes?
Yes.
No, Zara's
just
the winner.
in general, or
Yeah, there's no losers here. There's no need for anybody to gloat.
Yeah, Zara.
Okay, I hear you.
Okay, so our grand final then is for the best Christmas movie ever, Gremlins versus Elf. I changed my mind. I vote Titanic. It's got snow. It's got ice. It's cold. It's got love.
It has got ice.
Honestly, think Joe could make a case for anything being a Christmas movie.
Exactly.
Anything.
I think you could.
Joe, explain
Saw
to
is
us
a Christmas movie.
how is Hostel a Christmas movie? Come on.
Well, people being ripped apart, it's kind of like consumerism and the holidays rip families apart. And the red blood represents, the red blood of Christ, later on in his life. And it's kind of like the placenta coming out. And, we can just, it's the birth
You love
of
that placenta.
the birth of Christianity and the birth
We're going to
of
have to
love
put a
in the
disclaimer
world.
at the start of this episode.
I mean, I think that was a good on off the cuff
Very
argument
good.
for Hostel.
Very good.
That's a very
I'm
good
actually
argument, Joe.
editing a video at work at the minute, and this morning, and it's the shot of a cow giving birth to a calf. And when Joe said that, it's just a flashback to the whole scene of everything coming out. And it's like,
It's a messy
the
business.
cows
Does it remind
eat
you of Christmas?
everything. Anyway, I don't know. Like, do you want to vote? Do you want to talk about it a bit more? Like, who's leaning on what?
I'm leaning Elf, if I'm going to be honest.
I think I might be leaning Elf.
Definitely for watchability and for like I say, I love Gremlins, and a couple of times I was going to sit down and watch it with the kids, and then there's just a couple of scenes in it that just aren't suitable. So I think that's maybe going to be my kind of deciding factor.
What can you sit down and watch?
What can you sit down and watch with the whole family? Yeah, for everyone to enjoy.
I mean, Elf is like Christmas. Gremlins is the office Christmas party where people are drunk. There's people throwing up. There's violence. There's sex. There's everything. So, depends how horny you are, which film you like.
It's very awesome.
Wow, what a deciding factor.
So if I decide for Gremlins or Elf, which one makes me hornier? If I vote for Gremlins, you're saying I'm hornier.
Well, maybe Elf, because Will Ferrell in those tights. Damn, boy.
Well, that is very true. Yeah.
You got it going on.
They go all the way up.
Yeah.
Vote time.
We all have
Is it the decisive moment?
I think so.
Is it the moment of truth?
I think
Yeah,
this
I
is
think so.
I think it may
the
be.
big moment. It took
My
us
goodness, guys.
2 episodes to get here.
Should you edit in a drum roll at this point, or like some tense ass music?
We need an envelope or something. Don't we?
Yeah, we do. And he's like a golden envelope.
dramatically
What's
open.
the prize? Like,
What's the prize?
yeah.
Well, we can all sleep easy tonight.
Okay.
Like, would
I
we
mean,
not
if I get a
anyway?
good night's sleep, I'm happy.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll sleep like a log either way. So yeah, we're good.
Jeez.
I'm getting pissed on Japanese whiskey, so I'll definitely sleep.
Japanese whiskey,
Nice.
that's rough stuff.
It's
Whiskey in general
lovely.
is rough stuff.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Little advert for
Wait, are you drinking while we're doing this podcast?
nice. Yeah. That's been a long week. It's only Wednesday.
Yeah,
so it's
okay,
a long
that's
week.
fair enough. Yep. I'll drink tea, you drink whiskey. And Andrew's
Maybe.
results as well.
So, shall we do it?
I think so.
Here we
Shall
go.
we vote? Does everyone have a decision? Ready to go?
Think so.
Yeah.
Okay. So, one finger or Home Alone. Oh, no, wait. What?
Yes. I said reinstate Home Alone. I agree.
You should see my note. That's my page for this evening. Like all
It
the
looks
stuff at
pretty
the bottom.
tidy. Oh, I can see more now. Yeah.
It's tidy up to the bottom, and then it's just like just
Does
like
it have the
a
words
big
Will
vomit.
Ferrell in tights? Yeah.
So we're Gremlins and Elf, right? Just before I.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I knew that. I was just testing you guys actually to see if
Keeping us sharp.
Yeah. Exactly. So
It is late at night.
Okay. So one finger for Gremlins and 2 for Elf. Are we all ready?
Yep.
3,
Absolutely.
2, 1.
Oh, unanimous. There we go.
Best
Everybody
Christmas movie
wins.
of all
Good job.
time.
It's good that it was unanimous as well. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's what I was saying. There are no losers.
It's deserved.
No one person wins. Sarah, so calm down.
Yeah.
Reel it in, Zara. Come on.
I know. Come on. Let's be professional here.
Yeah.
smart.
Sorry. Let me just.
9/11. 9/11.
Yeah. Serious. 9/11. 9/11.
Well, that was fun. We bit off a lot there. That was more. Well, no, actually, we did a good job. Anybody else have any did anybody else have a movie they wanted to see all the way?
I did think Home Alone was going to win it.
So did I, yeah.
From the start, I thought Home Alone was definitely going to take it. You know.
I thought Home Alone or probably The Elf with the Grinch. I did want Christmas Vacation to win just because my favorite Christmas movie. Has to be watched every single year. But yeah, I kind of knew it'd probably come down to one of those ones.
See, definitely, if you love Christmas Vacation that much, you got to check out the original Vacation. It's on Netflix. Definitely give it a watch.
I think I have the box set sitting upstairs somewhere. I just
Mm-hmm.
don't know why I haven't watched them. I think because they swap out the actors, don't they? The kids aren't the same.
They do. The kids get
and the
swapped
wife
out. Yeah,
isn't the same. Is she the
so,
same?
no, the wife's the same.
It's Beverly
throughout,
D'Angelo.
yeah.
She's consistent. Okay.
Yeah.
I think just when they changed out the
Yeah, they
actors,
swap
I
out
thought
the
I'm not
kids.
interested.
Mm-hmm.
The change of actors was enough to put me off.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a bit kind of jarring, but once you get past it, they're definitely both worth a watch.
Yeah.
Like you were saying, Ryan, it's like it introduces you to more films that you maybe didn't necessarily think were Christmassy, or maybe ones that you'd forgotten as well. So I've definitely got a few on my list now to watch. So it's really
Like what?
It's cool that we did this. In Bruges, I have to go back to.
I'm definitely going to revisit it too.
Yeah. Have to go back to. The one that I hadn't seen was it Santa Claus? I think from the first.
The Santa Claus with Tim Allen.
Yeah, that's the one I haven't seen all the way through.
Have you seen National Lampoon's, Sarah?
That was very early in my childhood. I feel like I've seen it, but I would need to go back to it as well.
You have to watch it this year.
And I just want to watch Gremlins again because it's so good.
I just want the theme tune in my phone. I just want it everywhere. I just love that bar scene when they're all just getting out of hand and drinking it.
Yeah,
so good.
It's great.
It's just it got to the point when I was watching it, I was thinking this could be quite a good wee kids movie, and I was like, oh no, definitely not.
No, it's not.
Don't stick the cat in the microwave.
It is so fun, it's so fun, so creative. I really dark moments in it.
But I mean, we would watch those growing up as kids. Like, I'm sure we did. Like, I remember watching that maybe when I was, 7, 8, 9, 10, something
Definitely,
like that.
yeah.
So why is
It's
it
more
today we can
acceptable
sit and
back then.
say that, yes. So why are you, Connor, not that I'm having a go at you, why would you say that, I wouldn't necessarily, let my kids watch that?
The main thing is that it's the one scene with Kate and I can't remember what's the main character called.
She explains that her father.
Yeah, Billy and Kate. Yeah, where they're kind of hiding out, and she explains the Christmas story. That's the main reason why I wouldn't sit down. So the violence and stuff I could sort of get past, but that's the one thing like
You're
you
just
cannot
being a
sit down and
good
watch
parent.
that with a child. Like
My parents were horrible.
like to think so.
No, they weren't.
Funny, whenever I watched it as a child, I don't know, maybe I didn't see it until I was past that age, but it never occurred to me, or it wasn't a thing for me whenever I was a kid watching it,
There's an argument that I'd say that we're more desensitized now to media and films. Like, look at what happened with Saw, the whole Saw franchise. But maybe that's more when you're kind of in your teenage years, not when you're 7 years old.
Definitely. I think parents are way more protective now. Well, there's no doubt about it. They definitely are, like in all sorts of ways with what they let their kids watch.
And life in general.
Even letting their kids out of the house.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Whenever I was a kid, like I went out, summer holidays, I'd went out 10 o'clock in the morning, wouldn't have been home to 10 o'clock in the night. And I'd have been playing like 5-6 miles from home, And
wow.
my kids, like, they're allowed to the corner of the street.
Yeah.
Yes. They're not allowed out of our eye line.
I can see you back before the lights turn on.
That's it. Like, and the world is, statistically much safer, like, but we're definitely much more careful,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Damn, socialism has made us all left-wing snowflakes.
God, Joe.
24-hour news cycle, Joe. That's what I blame. 24-hour news cycle.
Yeah.
Isn't it interesting as well that most of our picks are all, and most of our childhood movie memories are all American. A lot of like cliches and those kinds of like Americanisms, I suppose. And those are the films that go out into the world and are kind of where we get our ideas of Christmas from, obviously from home and traditions that we have, but it's really Americanized, the Christmas film industry, I feel like. And
strangely, like Thanksgiving is the big American holiday. Like Christmas is an afterthought in America. Thanksgiving is the real big holiday. And funny, after we had made our list, one of the films that had I an odd chance it might have included is Trains, Planes and Automobiles. And it's a Thanksgiving movie, not a Christmas movie, but it has a very Christmas feel to it as well. I suppose Thanksgiving's in November anyway, so it's just around the corner from Christmas. But it's all those same things about trying to get home for the holidays, to be home, be with your family and willing to do anything to get there. Have any seen it? Trains, Planes, Automobiles? Steve Martin and John Candy. So a fantastic
that's a
comedy.
good movie, yeah.
So if you like quotes, Ryan, one of the greatest movie quotes ever is whenever Steve Martin he tries to book a hair cure from the airport, and he gets dropped off by a bus like 3 miles outside the airport, and there's no cure there for him, and he has to trudge his way back through the snow to the airport to complain to the lady at the rent-a-cure desk. And it's one of the best scenes. Like, just YouTube that later on tonight. Steve Martin, rent-a-cure scene, fantastic.
Brilliant.
Thanks for listening, everybody. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Folks. Merry Christmas.
Bye. Merry
Merry Christmas, one and all.